I'm gonna go ahead and try to make a custom diffuser for the TC, and so let's just go ahead and see how it goes. Always air out, major key.
My name is Jeff.
Alright, so currently we are looking for the wood section. I personally have never actually been here, but I know Home Depot and Lowe's don't have it. Looks like I think I found it. Seems to be it. We're just gonna go ahead and I guess grab a full sheet of this. I'm really hoping this will actually fit in the car, so I guess we'll just have to see. Figured I'd grab one of these just to make life just a little bit easier here. Yeah, looking at this more, this old big sheet of ABS basically, and we're going to be taking it and we're going to go ahead and make a new front splitter that'll kind of come up here in the doohickey. We'll see. The first thing we're going to do is cut this up in a mock-up before we go ahead and start cutting into that. Bear with me if it gets a little windy. Basically exactly how I want it. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so the plan here is obviously we're going to take this the way this is, and I'm going to go ahead and trace around here with the marker where I want it, cut that, and then take that as a template and take it to the black sheet and cut from there before we just go cutting into things. I figured I already have a quick release for my bumper, so it comes off like super fast and easy. So it's gonna actually be easier to this way probably, just to get measurements perfect, because then I can actually set the bumper fully on the cardboard. Alright, so I think what I'm gonna go with is 4.5 inches out. I feel like that'll be kind of like the perfect distance, and then I might go closer on the sides, like do 3 inches, just so it kind of rounds into it. We'll see about that. So basically what I'm going to do here is go ahead and take this and just go kind of around it, mark 4.5 inches, and then we'll go around and kind of trace around that, and then we'll take that template and trace that on top of our black sheet. So what we have here, I went ahead and did 2.5 at the closest point to 3, 3.5, 4, and then to the 4.5. So we're gonna go ahead and trace this out now, and we might even actually cut this right in half and just flip it. That way we have both sides are perfectly even. Alright, so roughly right here is the middle-ish, kind of. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of cut this half and then fold it over just so we can get a better idea of what it looks like. And then I'll fold it over and I'll trace it on this side, and then I'll cut the rest of that off. So I got that cut. Now we're going to fold this over and I'm going to trace that from this. And we're going to, you know, things. Alright, so I got the line traced, so now we should be able to do this, and that should be the same. We'll put this back there and we'll see. So, good. We'll make sure to obviously measure closer when we do the final product and whatnot, and then we'll end up sanding edges and cutting a lot neater than, you know, cardboard. So 10 out of 10 recommend making this all one piece, but I'll tape this together, measure, and, you know, I'll line it up, and we're good. See you. look, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Where'd my ruler go? All right, so decided to go, this is like 5 inches, and we're gonna go 4 inches out. So what I'm doing is found the easiest way is to take my ruler and just kind of put it up against the edge here, and I'm just gonna kind of do a dotted line and then connect the dots. I got this half over here kind of dotted back into my 3-inch mark, so I'm basically just gonna kind of come up from here and fade in, and that just kind of turns into the 4 inches around. And then I gotta do the same there, but this definitely seems a lot more even than obviously using the cardboard cut the way I did. And we got Zach over here. He's just trying to polish these new saucy wheels. Flousy, flousy. If any of you have actually like looked up on how to do this, there's not a lot of tutorials, at least that I found, but one that I found was helpful was Locals. They actually used like pretty much the same material, but what they did is they actually ended up rubbing like used motor oil like right on where you're cutting, just because it helps lubricate and helps prevent some of this like really like junky, it's not even focusing, nonsense from happening. So I'm gonna actually use WD-40, and if that doesn't work, then I guess I'll like look around for some oil or something and dip my finger in it, but for now I'm just going to use WD-40 because it should do the same thing. Alright, so last night my batteries ended up dying and whatever. So I went ahead and finished cutting this out, as you can see, and went ahead and cut out kind of like little middle piece that went in here, just because, well, let's be honest, this isn't really going to be doing anything function-wise for that, because it's not fast. So I went ahead and cut this kind of out just to cut some of the weight down, because believe it or not, this is kind of heavy, even as is right here, at least for how I'm gonna have to figure out how to mount. Yeah, okay. So I kind of want to just cut down on the weight, because this stuff really doesn't seem that heavy, but it's pretty heavy. So the first thing I'm gonna do here is, just because it is kind of, there are some edges that weren't cut perfectly, just because it's actually kind of like not as easy, although for the most part it's pretty straight cut. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of get some of these little burrs off by probably getting some sandpaper and kind of rub that down the edges real quick. And then for the big parts like this, I've got some files, see here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of quickly file those down to get it down real quick, and then go ahead and obviously sand the edges a little bit. The inside doesn't really matter because you won't even be able to see that, so. Sanded down, filed down, and for the most part it seems pretty straight as far as the, you know, obviously it's curved, but, you know, okay. So now we're gonna go ahead. Alright, so now it is time to go ahead and put that, I gotta find out where I put the support rods at, and alright, so in case anybody else has a TC, this is kind of, this is kind of how I figured out where I want my support rods. Basically you have the grill, and right here is the center in between these two, and so what I just did is went ahead and went with the second little notch here. If you have a honeycomb one, then obviously this might not make sense too. But anyway, so this is what I use mine. I use this as basically my center point for the drill, and then I want to put the second hole right where the side of the first little slot. So that's what I'm gonna do right over here. And then I went from 2 inches and started and drilled right there.
Roughly give or take right there.
Between like here and the bumper, I went ahead and actually just took my lip off since it wasn't like it was on by a whole ton of hardware. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and keep my measurements from the sides and whatnot, drill the holes to secure this to that, and then go from that to that and connect, you know, all 3. I didn't really film too much of it just because of I needed all my hands and tripod don't ask questions, but you know. Anyway, so I'll just kind of run through real quick. So you have these 3 bolts here that kind of give the main support here, and then I have one right there and one right there in the middle, and then likewise 3 right here. These 3 were obviously easiest to get the drill. Those ones I had to kind of like mark this little line right here, pull these off, pull the lip off, and kind of just hope that I got accurate. But I was gonna add more, but it seems like this is definitely on, and that rattling was from the strut supports. So it seems good, so I'm gonna start putting it back together. Alright, there we go. So on there now, looking hot. I might try and bend these up and kind of make them flare out just so it's not as kind of like off the car. But other than that, there you go.